Welcome to Daily Armor. Today we're going to be in the book of Malachi, chapter 4, looking at verse number 2. And there's this is the last book of the Old Testament. There's 400 silent years until we get to Matthew. And in this last chapter, chapter number 4 is the last chapter. There's only 6 verses. I'm going to focus mostly on verse number 2. So for the sake of that, let's read. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. When I think of this verse, it is usually because somebody has talked about wanting to be healed, needing healing. I've been thinking about, that, or somebody else was thinking about that. Maybe the preacher has said it. And then this one section of a verse will come up and it'll just pop in my head. Healing in his wings. I'll think of that. And so I was like, well, let me go look that up. I want to read the whole verse. I want to read the chapter. And then I find that it's the very, very last book of the Bible in the Old Testament, and the last chapter and some of the last verses is what it's talking about. So it was giving them, before those silent years were to begin, he was giving them things to watch for, things to look out for. Teach your next generation things to look for, things to watch for. This is coming. It's coming. God is not subject to time like you and I are, so it's coming. And we don't know when, and we don't know how. We don't know all the logistics, but we know when he says something, it's going to take place, just like we know he's coming back. I don't know when. I don't know if it'll happen in my generation. It looks like it's going to happen in my generation. It looks like that it's going to happen very, very quickly, very soon. But I don't know when it's going to happen. But I can trust that when he says something is going to take place, that's exactly what's going to happen. And he's going to arise with healing in his wings. When we need healing, we all go through difficulties. I'm battling with some anxiety issues right now. Todd and I really both are, and we do have some stuff going on, but we really don't feel like that it's coming from those things. We don't know if we're deficient in something. We're both, struggling with some of the same symptoms. But we are struggling with our health right now. And it's not anything major. We hope. We don't think it is anyway. Just something that we need to tweak. I don't know if we're getting dehydrated or what our problem is. But anyway, so I've been thinking about, Lord, I need some healing. I need help. I need help with my health. I need, Lord, we need, help with Todd's health. His blood pressure's been running a little bit high, and he's changing. They changed some medication on him, and I think he's just going to go back to his previous medication. He started that today. So I'm hoping that he'll feel better in a few days going back to his old medication. But anyway, when I think about healing, this portion of verse number 2 pops into my mind, that healing in his wings. But the healing that it's speaking of is the spiritual healing that we need. So no matter what we're going through, no matter what our bodies are being subjected to with health issues or problems or whatever, the best healing that anyone could ever receive is that spiritual healing. And that's what this truly is talking about, is the spiritual healing that's coming. He is letting them know. God is letting everyone know, hey, this is the Savior is coming, the Messiah is coming. He's coming with healing in his wings. He's coming to help your true need. And he's here. He's here. He's came. He was coming, then he came, and he's still here. And he wants to heal me, and he wants to heal you of some things in our life. But the most important thing is those spiritual things that we need to be healed from. First of all, we begin with needing healing from our sin. We need to be healed from that sin debt that we can't pay, that we could never make up for. We need that more than anything else in our lives. If you were to be healed of every sickness, if you were never to be sick a day, if you were never to have a financial problem, if you were never to have, any relationship problems, or you were just successful in every single area of your life, if you never aged, if you never had an ache or a pain or anything like that, you still would need that spiritual healing. And that's what that was what his purpose was for coming. That's why he came. And he's offered himself as that free gift that we can accept today. We don't have to wait for that. Now we're waiting on his return. We're waiting, and we don't know when that's going to happen, but we don't have to wait to have that relationship with him. You don't have to wait. It's now. Now is the time. You can get that true healing, that spiritual healing. If you don't know Jesus, just cry out unto him and say, Lord, I'm a sinner and I need to be saved. And you are the only way. You have to know that there's nothing you can do to make up for it. That there's not one thing, that it's not about your church membership. It's not about your baptism. It's not about, whether you're a tither or whether you're not a tither. It's not about whether you're good to your neighbors, that you're good to your friends, that you give to the sick and to the poor, and all these things. It's not about those good deeds that we do, and we should do those things, but that's going to take place after. That's getting to work for the Lord. That is serving him. That's being excited that he is using you and I, and that is doing things for the Lord in return, as a reflection of what he's already done for us. But that very first step, that very beginning step is making sure that you have received that true healing that you and I need, and that is to be healed from our sin, is to be clean and cleansed and righteous and holy, not because of anything that we've done. There's not anything I've done to have made up for anything. I couldn't take away one sin that I've ever committed, and will never be able to make up for anything that I've ever done. When I was first saved, I was so appreciative that I was trying so hard to be good. I was trying so hard to make up for those things that I'd done. And a preacher preached, and it was one of Todd's really good friends, Brother David Clemens, who's passed away now. He's with the Lord now. But he preached a message up in the mountains that I was able to attend, and he said, that if you're trying, there's someone here and you're trying to make up for what you've done, and when you do that, you're saying the blood isn't sufficient, the blood wasn't enough. And that's what I was trying to do, and that might be what you're trying to do. Maybe you are saved, and you're trying to, Lord, I'm trying to dot all the I's, I'm trying to cross all the T's, I'm trying to cover all the bases. And he's saying, you don't have to do anything for salvation because he's already done it. Now, there's things he wants us to get to work and to do. And there's things that's going to come up in our life, but he has already paid. He has already brought that healing in his wings that spoke about here in Malachi 4:2. He already came and he did that. And we read about that, in the New Testament, and how wonderful and how we can rejoice over that. And, in April, we'll be coming up celebrating Easter, celebrating, that he did make that ultimate sacrifice for you and for myself, and how that by accepting his free gift, the free gift is his blood, not my blood. My blood wouldn't have paid for anything. My blood's, tainted, it's sinful. His blood, he is pure, he is holy, he had not sinned, he was the ultimate perfect sacrifice, and he did that for me, and he did that for you. So for today's lesson, I know that there's some of us that need some healing from some physical things that we're going through. I join you in that. I'm needing some healing from some things that I'm having trouble with, but ultimately I know that he is going to do those things in his time and in his way. Why? Because I'm his. And why am I his? Because he healed me of this terrible sin debt that I could not pay. He healed me, and he has taken care of my sin nature, and all of those spiritual needs that I have. He takes care of those spiritual needs in my life, and therefore I know I can wait and trust that He's going to take care of those physical needs in my life as well. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again soon.